It was supposed to be in the original Garden of Eden.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know much about it. I don't know a lot of the details. But
The Muslims here taught me about it.
I didn't think it was any older than the Temple of Jerusalem. Parts of the Temple of Jerusalem are still there, aren't they?
Well, the Canaanites were there
I know
first.
that the Romans destroyed it in, say, 60 AD, but aren't there parts of it that survived that war? I mean, aren't there some really old parts of it that are still standing?
Well, the Canaanites were there before the Jews, right?
Yeah, but that's ancient.
That's Moses.
Yeah.
Now, Moses is 250 generations ago. Abraham is 360 generations ago. So Abraham's like 100 generations. Now, a generation's about 25 years. So every 100 years, you got 4 generations. So 100 generations is about 2,500 years.
But wasn't a generation back then more like 250 years?
No,
25.
No, he means present day generation when he says that.
A generation that Mary, the Virgin.
I don't think the length of human generations has changed much. I think that part of that story in the Bible about people living to be hundreds of years old, I'm not sure that's literally correct. You know.
What do you think?
I mean, I don't know, but I don't believe it.
Well, I think that it's like the Yankees and the Confederates in the United States, the Jews and the Muslims. See, Abraham is the father of both groups.
That's right.
There's Sarah and Hagar are the ones how it got split.
He had 2 wives.
Yeah.
One of them is the descendants are the Jews, and the other one is descendants of Arabs.
And it was Sarah who said, "It's my way or the highway, Abraham. Either Hagar goes or you go." And so poor Abraham said, well, I married you first. I told a lie to the Pharaoh. That's how I ended up getting Hagar, because I lied and said you were my sister and not my wife. Because the Pharaoh would have killed me if I said you're my wife so he could take you for himself. And God told me I should say you're my sister. And so the Pharaoh thought he could marry Sarah because Abraham was her brother. And so he did, and Abraham didn't say anything, but then later Pharaoh found out, whoa, I married this guy's wife, I'm in trouble. So he said, okay, you can have Hagar, my slave concubine, in atonement, and you and Sarah and Hagar are now free to go. So they took off and headed towards the Canaanite area, found a nice spot, I guess, which was Jerusalem. Sarah's getting pretty old then, no baby, and here's Hagar producing Ishmael with Abraham. So Sarah feels kind of jealous, and then she says, okay, Hagar has to go. So Hagar, Ishmael, and Abraham went south, and Abraham left Hagar in the desert. No sign of water anywhere, and so that became the Islamic religion. Miraculously, Hagar found water, and all you have to do is say La ilaha illa Allah ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, and you can become a Muslim. The rest follows from there.
You can just become a Muslim?
Yeah, I mean, it's out of this thing, a woman and her son in the desert with no water. You want to join our team, man. All you got to do is say one breath that we can agree on. It's not going to make it complicated, It's hot, we don't have water, no... La ilaha illallah.
Can I say that now and become a Muslim?
Yeah. La meaning no, il meaning small, aha meaning gods, no small gods, illa small la, il la small no, Allah the one God, and Muhammad is a messenger to and from God.
No small gods, only one big God.
Yeah, no small gods, and a small no about the one God, because we, the creation, are less than the God. So we're proof that there's less than God. God is the ability. No. No, God doesn't need anything. But the charity of God is there can be less than no. Il. There can be small no. So if you were a computer scientist and into binary stuff, you had la and il la, then that's all you needed. You could make the entire creation from there. And that got embedded into this simple one breath thing that we say. The current translation you'll hear from Muslims in English is, there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad is a messenger. Yeah, but that's not literal. I am the kind of person, I spent 15 years kind of looking at stuff, and it's La ilaha illa Allah. No small gods. Because God doesn't need any, but small needs big. Plural needs more than one. God doesn't need any. La ilaha illa Allah. The small know about the one God, because we are less than God.
What do you think about this like New Age universalism theories about how like?
Hey, nice talking with you.
Yeah, likewise, Mark.
Yeah. Next time I wander over to the Library of Congress.
Okay.
Are you hungry? Would you like a pretzel before you go? Okay. Good, good.
Yeah, the Seeds of Peace people are with us.
Yeah, that's really great.
They feed us. They're really good kids. What do you think about this like New Age universalist theory that like we are all God and
Well, God is in you. God is in me. God is in Mecca. God is in the grass. That's why we can say the Messiah, self-repair, soft and hardware, dance and songbook, thread woven throughout the fabric of all creation. God is omnipresent. Hi. But only God can live or go inside the oldest house of God. Because when you the oldest parts of God, the oldest house of God, that's a direction inside a certain direction. Because as you go more and more in that direction, you can have less and less dependencies, less and less seams, less and less layers. Because only that which doesn't need anything can survive in that direction. So as you head towards that infinity, inward or outward after it flips, you shed. Like if you were a human being, you'd take off your coat and you could get a little closer. You take off your shirt, you could get a little closer. You take off, your boots and you could get a little closer, because there's less and less that you need as you get closer. But eventually you have to shed your body, and then only your spirit can keep going closer. And eventually your spirit can only go so close because, Jesus Christ sits on the right hand of the throne of God. At the throne of God, God doesn't even need any spirit. God doesn't need anything at that particular point.
What do you mean? God doesn't need anything?
God doesn't need anything. Like God can go totally unconscious and come back. God's not a slave to needing anything. We say God is good. God can be good. God can. See, can is a safer verb than is. Is the equal sign.
Yeah.
And God's not a slave to being equal to anything. God's greater than everything and anything. God's the greatest. So and or the least, and or everything. So God can be good, but God doesn't need to be good.
What's happening? What you say, young man?
Peaceful happeningnesses. What's happening? They want action.
What's happening, God?
Yeah, God is the creation is happening.
Generator, operator, destroyer.
Say again?
It's a generator, operator, destroyer.
Oh, generator. That sounds like Hinduism or something. Yeah, generator, operator, destroyer, or recycler, I guess we would say. Peace is an architectural solution. How are you? Rock Creek Cab, 32.
What?
Rock Creek Cab just drove by and reminded me of our brother who said he drank out of creeks. Brother
Mark.
Mike, yeah.
Are you recording all this?
I try to call it saving or remembering. Yeah, I'm trying to save it and remember it. Sometimes it goes off and I don't know, but I just wrote an email to Michael Dell, offered to develop head-top technology with him and Dell computers. So he rode by on his bicycle on my way here to see you.
Michael did?
Yeah. And then
Live around here?
no,
Oh, he-
Texas.
Oh yeah, he just constantly, mostly travels.
Yeah. Now I can't say if 100% sure it was him, but it sure looked like him. And he had a rolled up like diploma, piece of paper. Or that could be. And then a guy who reminded me of Steve Case walked by, the AOL founder, Steve Case. But he was taller. And he had like an organizational handbook in his hand, all these tabs and schedules and calendars and phone numbers, in a leather-bound book. So maybe I should have said to him something.
Oh, is that why you hang out around here? Is that interesting people?
Yeah, that's a lot of it, yeah.
That's kind of why I asked you those questions, because I recently went to a Michael Dowd presentation. He was talking about how ecology is kind of the new theology, and I guess I misinterpreted what he was saying. I was thinking like he was kind of dismissing, like he said old religions are kind of outdated, but I guess that he was just saying that they were personifications of what they thought to be reality.
Personifications of what they thought to reality. Yeah, that's kind of like the Hindu gods are kind of personifications of different attributes of the one God. I think mainly it's a matter of translating the old religions into the modern vocabulary so people can understand. Those guys were pretty smart back then.
You mean who was smart?
Abraham, Pharaoh, Moses, Mary, Joseph, those people. I mean, he was a carpenter. 90, he was my age or something, and Mary was like a 13-year-old virgin hairdresser in Nazareth. And they put their heads together and they knew the prophecies and stuff, and Mary showed up with the baby, and Joseph took her at her word, and they changed the course of history. The women don't get very much as much. The Catholic Church is pretty smart. They emphasize Mary a lot, but most Christians